I love video games. So much so, I've always wanted to make my own games. I've always dreamt about creating my own Pokemon region, crafting my own League of Legends character, and even building little Lego towns, thinking it was my very own Lego game. Just the idea alone of building your own little interactive world was so exciting to me. Despite my ambition, the only thing stopping me was that I never really knew how to make my own games. I didn't know how to code, my art experience I wouldn't exactly call great, and I never knew where or how to get started. Going into college as a computer science major, not even considering the idea that I could make my own games professionally, I had no idea that in 2020 that I would begin my journey into game development. I'm Lawrence, also known as Emergency Player. I wanted to make this video to take a look back on my journey into game development, taking a look at the games that I've played and made, and see how I grew with each game as a developer, designer, and gamer. Okay, future Lawrence here. This will focus just during my time in college, since that's where most of my significant growth as a developer occurred. It all started when I was bored in quarantine in the fall of 2020. As a freshman, I saw an invite to my school's game development club Discord server, and I joined. I thought it would be easy. I had some light Blender animation experience and some coding knowledge from scratch, so this should have been a piece of cake. Little did I know that joining this small Discord server would change the course of my life. I started by joining a team that was working on a top-down shooter called Cowboy Zelda. For some reason, I was the primary programmer of this project. I watched hours and hours of brackeys right before this game was due. And honestly, for someone who barely knew how to code, this game was pretty good. Now, these were my two biggest problems. This bird, who moved way too fast and required way too much precision to hit you, and these objectives, which can be destroyed by a bullet soft locking you into the game. Beautiful game. The traumatizing experience from Cowboy Zelda inspired me to lead my own game the next semester. Coming fresh from winter break after playing a lot of Risk of Rain 2 and Doom 2016, I felt very inspired to make a shooter with some procedural elements. This ended up being one of the first 3D games of the club, and honestly, I think with what we had, this was a really good end result. We had 3 different enemy types, a bunch of different guns, even some light stat power-ups, and a really fun trailer. Around this time, I was thinking, damn, I should go into game dev professionally. Also around this time, the industry was going to shit. The recognition that I received from Lammerth Run, both for leading it with my team and also the general club, allowed me to win the secretary position for my game dev club board for my second year of college. With now 2 games under my belt, I really wanted to try my first game jam. So during that summer of 2021, I participated in the GMTK 2021 Game Jam, and we made Stick to It. With a stronger knowledge of the Unity game engine, and my mom giving away my Wii to my cousins in Texas, I decided to start off my second year by remaking my favorite Wii game in Unity. We called this We Play Tanks Tanks. We changed the name to avoid Nintendo copyright, and it was for educational purposes. This game was a huge success. It had all enemies from the original game. It also had all 100 levels from the original game, which we made with our very own custom level editor. It wasn't anything super fancy. It was a text file with characters attached to the thing, and it would associate and instantiate those files whenever a level was created. This cut down on file size a lot, and we also left it open with some light documentation for any gamers who want to create their own We Play Tanks Tanks levels. Around the same semester that we did We Play Tanks Tanks, I did my second game jam. Game jam that my club hosted, and we created an action platformer called The Box. Riding off of the high that was the success of We Play Tanks Tanks, I got really ambitious and decided to co-pitch an online multiplayer platform fighter with 4 characters. Safe to say this one didn't work out, but it did teach me a lot about scope. First off, don't try and make 4 different characters with unique movesets within a semester. Also, online multiplayer is very difficult. But despite all of the challenges, the art was so good. Our art team was really talented, and one of our 3D modelers, Brandon, had a really good sense of Blender. And I ended up working with him, by coincidence, for almost the rest of my projects during the Game Dev Club. At this point, I'm 2 years into college and also 2 years into the Game Development Club. At this point, I have 4 games and 2 game jams under my belt, and as secretary, I've made so many friends and connections with so many of the members of the Game Development Club. This actually helped me get presidency for the CVP Game Dev Club for my junior year. Since I was president, I took a bit of a break from the game pitches, but still did plenty of game jams. I think I did about 3. And we also brought in guest speakers from the industry, from Obsidian Entertainment, Activision Blizzard, Riot Games, and Sony Santa Monica. As a team bonding exercise, I thought it would be a great idea to do a game jam with my board for the Game Dev Club. So we started doing the 2022 GMTK game jam with Locked and Loaded Die. The next game jam that I did was the Halloween horror game jam that my club hosted. I was a bit on the fence on doing the game, but the Backrooms was trending, and I thought a game in the liminal space environment was really cool, so I decided to create Chachi. In my spring semester, we collaborated with the SGDA, a collection of game dev clubs across the West Coast, and the EGD, a collection of game dev clubs on the East Coast, to have our very own collegiate national game jam. So, super last second submission, I created a game called Cough It, following the virus theme of the game jam. During my presidency, I was getting overwhelmed with all the computer science classes that I was working on, and I decided to focus myself on being an artist for the games that I was working with. Circle of Growth was during the fall semester. I was a 3D modeler and helped make the main character and some environment art. This was basically a platformer where you could shrink and grow yourself to get to places. I was also a 3D modeler for Pancakes and Love Letters. My friend Enzo was leading this game in his last semester during the spring, and I helped with 3D modeling the main cafe. During my presidency and around the end of it, after speaking to so many different people, I started to get a better feel on my thoughts of the game dev industry and going into it professionally. I was leaning a bit more towards that my enjoyment of game development came from it being a hobby. But I decided to give myself one more game pitch to try everything out and see if this was the route I wanted to take my career. With my presidency over and one more semester to go, fall of 2023, I decided to pitch a game that would bring me full circle. The sequel to the very first game I worked on, Cowboy Zelda. May I introduce to you, Gunslinger Hilda. This game had a wonderfully talented team, and we were creating a really fun game. It's not perfect, it's definitely janky, but it's janky in that spirit of the original Cowboy Zelda. And it got featured in my Intro to Game Dev class, which was really funny. Writing the script and looking back, it is crazy that this all started just because I joined a random link to a Discord server for my school's Game Dev Club. This club has given me so much on my journey as a college student, software engineer, artist, and game developer. It's given me such a strong community of friends who are passionate about the same things I'm passionate about, and it also gave me a much stronger sense of where I wanted to take my game dev passion, opting for more of a hobby where I have more of a creative say of the game, which is the part I appreciate most about game development, versus a career in the industry where I function more as a cog in the machine, needing to rework my way up to have more of a say in the project. This video alone doesn't even bring up the other opportunities that I got outside of the club, like working on an actual online multiplayer game and publishing it to Steam, or how my experience here helped me land an internship at Nickelodeon Animation. The Cal Poly Pomona Game Development Club will always have a special place in my heart. And the real Cal Poly Pomona Game Development Club is the friends we made along the way. I'll also be making videos talking about my experiences more, talking about Absolute Momentum, Solar Suites, and my time at Nickelodeon, so stay tuned for that. Leave a like and subscribe. I plan on making more game dev vlogs, specifically on each of the games that I've listed here, and some of the games that I worked on after college. Also talking about my time at Nickelodeon, and probably some game reviews on all the Pokemon games that I've played, because there's some really cool stuff that they've mentioned there, and seeing the growth and progression of Pokemon is really interesting.